Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 124 of the High Sensitivity Podcast. Thank you for listening and or watching. If it's your first time here, we talk about video game and movie news, as well as what we watched or played over the week. My name is Barry, along with my co-hosts.
My name's Craig. Hasn't changed.
My name's Greg. We're back. We're back with more talk.
More talk.
And this week, we head to Gamescom in Germany, because that's where all the news is. And we're going to be starting off with news this week as well. So, I'll let you guys go into kind of the big announcements, and both of you can have your time in the spotlight here. But
Sure.
what was the big announcements on your guys' end for Gamescom?
I'm not 100% sure if this was announced at Gamescom or not. So if it wasn't, you can correct me here, either one of you. But I did want to bring up the PS5 DualSense Edge controller.
Yes.
That thing was.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, that looks like an Elite controller, which is what I've wanted from PlayStation for a long while.
Yes.
So I'm super pumped for that thing. That thing came out of nowhere to me, and I was like, well, give me that. I want all of that. I've been playing a lot more PS5 lately, so I think it just hits at the right time. But man, that thing looks nice.
It does. It looks real nice, and it's funny because they were explaining, or at least showing, basically what was a Pro controller for Xbox, and it still had the same effect as I hoped it would when they finally announced it. One thing that I'm excited for, and I just need to hear more news about it as we hear more about it, is maybe some type of battery life improvement. Because like the PlayStation 5 standard
with my battery. I don't
Really?
Really?
Do you guys
Yes, constantly.
Yeah.
really?
Yeah.
Huh?
Do you plug yours in every time you're done,
Yeah.
Barry? Okay. So for me, since I have two controllers, right? So what I do, like right next to me here, I have the one that I'm using, and then my other one is plugged in with a wire, and then I'm just constantly switching them out when the one
Back
gets
and forth.
dead. Yeah, because I only have one. I think I have two chargers, maybe, but I don't know where the other one is. I'd have to dig it out. But yeah, I mean, I feel like I want to say I probably get like 2 or 3 play sessions before I have to switch. How about you, Craig?
I would say that.
About
Yeah.
2 or 3?
About 2 or 3, maybe a
Yeah.
6-hour
Mhm.
PlayStation play session. 6 to 8.
I feel like my Xbox Elite controller lasts forever
It does.
between charges, and these just don't. And maybe it has to do with this has a built-in audio coming out of the controller, right? So maybe that has something to do with it, and also the haptic feedback, maybe. But yeah, you're right. I would appreciate a better battery life in this thing. That'd be cool.
Yeah, how good does it look, guys? It looks pretty. I think it looks sharp.
Yeah.
I know there's mixed feelings. There's some people who are going to like it. There's some people who don't. I like the white and black combination.
Mhm.
That's there, and it looks legit. It looks well built.
Yeah.
I would like to see somebody maybe do like an unboxing and such like that. I want to see what the price is. That's what I want to see.
200
Because yeah.
Yeah.
How much
is the Elite 2 controller? I don't even remember anymore. 200?
200.
Okay. So yeah, that's probably accurate. Am I like reaching into Neverland though to wish that someday I could get a PS5 controller where I can have the analog where the D-pad is, like an Xbox controller? Because that's still to this day bothers me to no end on a PlayStation controller that both analog sticks are right next to each other. I hate it.
Well,
much.
all you need is the Astro C40, and that one
Right.
was able to
But I don't want that one.
Is that a plug, Barry? Is that a plug?
It is.
No, if Astro wants to sponsor me, sure, I'll take it. I'll take it as a plug.
Well, that means both of us have held up a controller. Craig, you need to hold one up too.
I don't have one on here.
How dare you?
Unfortunately, I got a keyboard. It's funny because I usually have my Xbox controller over here because that's what I use when I play on a gaming PC. Mm-hmm. But I don't have it here.
Yeah, I'm gonna say 200. I feel like they're gonna have to stick with whatever Microsoft is charging to be competitive. How much is the does that controller work on PS5, Barry? The Astro?
No, I don't think so.
So there is no Pro model except for this one then on PS5.
I do know there were some scuff ones that came out and they were able to do the PS5, I do know people were making like custom controllers that
Mhm.
allowed you to do it, but nothing like if this is the first time anything's been officially sanctioned by Sony. If
Okay.
this is kind of by Sony, like the whole advertisement thing is a little weird to where
Mhm.
like if it's a scuff controller, they didn't say anything. They really didn't come out and say that it's a PlayStation controller. They just said that this is the PlayStation Elite controller for, to make things easier to names and stuff to pronounce. So
Right.
I just don't know whether or not they're doing the same thing where it's Scuff making it, but it's still under the banner of Scuff and not PlayStation. It's more will be determined as time goes on.
Yeah. It definitely had a feeling of first party though, like Sony made,
Yeah, it
as
did.
opposed to Scuff, but I guess we'll find out.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Oh, I was gonna say I'm excited just because the Pro controller for Xbox is my favorite controller,
Yep.
just because of the weight and how it sits in my hand. My hands naturally move towards a PlayStation controller just because I've played more over years. So I'm excited just for a quality weighted built controller in my hand. I mean, there's obviously things about the PlayStation 5 controller that we all like, even down to how it feels, with the little PS5 insignias on
Yeah.
the current controller and such like that. But it was exciting to see. I was surprised how excited I was because they should have done this a long time ago, but
Yep.
it still was a good drop. Good thing to see.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Let's go I want to go from a high for Sony to a low. How about that? Like, we're
Let's do it.
praising them now. Let's beat the crap out of them. You ready?
Let's beat the crap out of them.
I want to talk about the PS5 price increase. Now, I do want to clarify and say not here, not in the US. I don't have the list in front of me of all the countries, but UK, right, is definitely one of them where it's going up. I did kind of feel like I got that feeling. You remember when the Xbox One got announced at E3 and they were talking about you wouldn't be able to play used games? And then Sony came out with their little video that was like, here's how you play a game, right? And they were taking a dig at Microsoft. I felt like this was the opportunity for Microsoft and Nintendo to do that back to Sony. And they kind of did, right? They both came out and they're like, yeah, we're not raising prices anywhere. Again, not in the US. So the majority of people this won't affect, but there's still going to be a decent amount of people this does affect. And me personally, it's not a good look. It's really not. You always sell the console for a loss. That's just what they do. You make the money up in everything else, your subscriptions, your games, all that. I think it's a bad look to raise the price after a console's come out. Maybe if it would have been a new version, but it's not. They're just like, yeah, the price has to go up. Sorry.
There's no way to justify that move.
No.
How do you sugarcoat it? How do you display it to the public properly, or at least most positively? Because there's just no reason, especially like you were saying, there's nothing different about it. It's now just a more expensive console.
Right.
And that's a bad look. It is.
Do you want to be devil's advocate, Barry?
Well, no, like I'm not going to really play devil's advocate because raising the price kind of sucks for everything. But this also may have to do with the fact that, like, I'm pretty sure the US dollar is now worth more than the euro for the first time in, like, literally, like, years and years of years of the euro being worth more. So I think we do run into that as of late where because of the economic crisis that a lot of other countries are going through, we find that the value of their money is now gone down. So the US, the value of the dollar has stayed pretty consistent amongst everything. Yeah, groceries did go up a little bit for that kind of thing, but in Europe, Russia, Japan, and everything like that, like all of their money is becoming less and less. I guess valuable is the word because it's not being valued the same as it once was.
Yeah,
I was going to use the word money because their money has become less and less money.
Yeah, so like I pulled up the official like PlayStation statement, right? So Europe, UK, Japan, China, Australia, Mexico, and Canada are all getting the price increase. But directly underneath it, they say, while this price increase is a necessity given the current global economic environment, it's not a necessity. It's not. I'm sorry. Like has this ever happened before? I don't think so on a console. But I just, again, like I said, every time a console's come out, that company sells that console at a loss. You just
Yeah.
do. It's just the way it is. You get people into your ecosystem. I just take, I don't know, I take almost offense to them being like, oh, it's a necessity. If it was a necessity, every other company would be doing it too, but you're the only one. So
Yeah.
yeah, I don't buy that.
That is, it's a conduit to get more money.
Yeah.
It's the essential thing that you need in order to siphon the entire bankroll of your customers, because we're going to get the games, we're going to subscribe, we're going to be like me, for example, who buys a controller even though they already have one, just because you throw out some crazy color that I've seen before in many other different things, but I'll still buy it.
Yep.
So that's the method, it's not a new method. So I don't know.
Yeah. Any other thoughts, Barry? Do we just let it go?
Well, no, yeah, like we've kind of all said our piece.
Yeah.
It does suck, but
Yeah.
that's my only thinking of it, is that yeah, they typically sell the consoles for a loss, but maybe the price, with the current value of whatever dollar the PlayStation is in, it probably decreased to the point where it's like more of a loss than Sony wants to take. So
Yeah.
maybe that's why I really can't defend it by any means, but that's the only thing I can think of or say about the whole situation.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I want to get into the games of Gamescom, and I have two that I specifically wanted to talk about.
I think I know one. I think I know one that you're going to say. But
One
let's see.
is, of course, we are finally getting Atomic Heart. Dear
Oh,
Lord, I've been waiting for
yeah.
this game forever, and it looks beautiful. I mean, this is what I've wanted since I finished BioShock Infinite, and I was like, I want another BioShock type game, and I feel like this is it. It could suck, but I don't know. I feel like I've been waiting. I don't even remember when this game got announced, like years ago.
Mhm.
But yeah, they have a new trailer for it. It looks phenomenal. I'm trying to decide if I get it on console or do I try and play it on PC to make it look as good as it can. But what do you guys
Yeah,
think about this one?
it looked great. It did.
Yeah.
It had so much of a what was it, BioShock Infinite
Mm-hmm.
vibe, where they went in the sky.
Yeah.
That's immediately what I thought. I found myself watching it, trying to decide exactly what the enemies were, and that were they of like a robot nature, like you see lasers being shot and such like that, and it has such a good feel, such a good look. It's just going to be kind of exciting to see more gameplay trailers. That's
Yeah.
it looks like it's going to be great.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, I will say, like, the thing about the trailer is I was watching it and I was like, what is going on? Like, there is the man's got tentacles coming out. There's like this weird dance that two robots are doing, and
Yeah.
I don't know. It looks I literally had to watch that trailer multiple times, and I actually still couldn't tell you what was going on. It's just like this.
Yeah.
It looks to be a lot like BioShock, which is awesome, and
Mhm.
we want more of that. It's just that I think also what was really nice about like BioShock, and especially like Infinite in particular, is how that story twisted into the other like BioShock. Spoiler alert, but
Yep.
the game's been out forever. Play it.
It has.
But
Yeah.
if and I like the setting of what they're doing with Atomic Heart. It's just a matter of how do they get that story across, and how does it really bring in people. I think they definitely have like, from reading the synopsis, they have like what they need to make like a really interesting kind of weird story. But there is like so much going on in like that one trailer that like it feels like my eyes are bleeding most of
Yeah.
the time,
There was a
where it's
lot
just,
going on.
yeah,
Yeah.
Mhm.
there's only more questions I have, and they're good questions, but the curiosity is nice, is good to have in a game. But usually when I see stuff like this, it's like, okay, but is it going to make, like, is the story going to be coherent in any way? Because
Right.
while shooting and everything can be fun still, I do think that a lot of what made BioShock fun was the lore that you kind
Oh
of
yeah.
didn't know coming into it. Like, I can't tell you, like, I would stop what I was doing to listen to those audio tapes that
Yep.
you could get in like BioShock, because a lot of the things were interesting, you were following them. Does that come back in some way where we get to learn more about this dystopian, future and everything like that? As long as it does that, I definitely feel like the rest of the game will take care of the rest.
Yeah, I agree. It does have
Yeah.
to hit it out of the park on the story here. That's definitely what we need. Um, but not having the story to go off of, I just think like the destruction of the enemies looked cool, right? Like the
Yeah.
robots, like you hit them and there was like a dent in their head where you hit them. Like the ice and stuff, particles look cool. But I don't want to get caught up in like, oh my god, this game looks phenomenal, because it could be, and this might anger people, but I don't like Crisis. I never did. But Crisis was the game. I was like, oh my god, you got to play this game. It looks phenomenal. And while it did at the time, I just thought the game itself was boring. Like there was just not a whole lot going on with it. So it could be more of that, and hopefully it's not.
Yeah, I didn't mind Crisis, but it's definitely
Really?
not anything. I didn't mind. I liked Crisis, I guess, but it's nothing that like I hold to like this high tier or
Right.
anything like that. It was an all right shooter.
It just made your PC catch on fire back in the day trying to play it.
It's why I played it on console.
Yeah.
Yeah. The second game, Craig, what's the second game I was going to talk about? Take a guess.
Is it Liza P?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was.
Oh
mixed,
my god.
mixed thoughts, I guess, from people on this one, right? I mean, I watched the trailer and I was like, this looks pretty fun. Like it kind of looks like a
Yeah.
Bloodborne, right? And then I go read all the comments of people like, this is just a blatant ripoff of Bloodborne and Demon Souls. I think it looks interesting now that I like these games. I'm excited to try it. It's going to be on Game Pass day one, so that's cool. But yeah, I mean, since I'm irritated by Bloodborne not being 60 frames per second on PS5, this might be a good alternative until they decide to do that for Bloodborne, I think. But yeah, I mean, I was impressed. I thought it looked cool.
I thought it looked awesome.
Yeah.
I thought it looked great. It reminds you so much of Bloodborne. The reason why I thought this was going to be your game is because you're basically going through
Yeah.
the Souls-like games, and I was like, he's probably going to notice this one.
Oh yeah. I would have written this one off 6 months ago. I would have been like, nope, not playing that.
Nope.
But now I'm like, yeah, give me that.
Yeah, that's what my wife's like. My wife was really interested in what it looked like, and then it was just like, and coming soon, a Souls-like, and she was like, nope, nope, nope.
I feel that pain.
Yeah,
She just has to find the right one, right, to drag her in, like it did with me.
Yeah,
Demon.
exactly.
I think is it fair to say that Demon Souls is the one that will probably bring a lot of people in?
Yeah,
because it just looks so good.
Yeah, and then
not only does it.
Oh, go ahead, Barry.
I was gonna say, not only does it look good, but it's also a matter of that they still kept a lot of the original, like, ways to cheese bosses, and to be honest, like, Demon Souls just isn't as hard as like games like Elden Ring and Dark Souls want them to be. Like, they kept the same like boss really mechanics in a way where that you can play and be frustrated by Demon Souls, but it's not anything that I think is too overwhelming, where people hit walls in Elden Ring and in other Souls like games, and they're like, yeah, I can't play it anymore because I'm not making any progress.
Yeah.
That stopped me from Elden Ring. Like, I still haven't beaten that first boss in Elden Ring still to this day.
Oh,
it's
really?
Crazy. Nope, can't beat him. And I got tired of running around trying to level up. So but yeah, those are the two I had. Craig, which ones were there? Any that stood out to you besides those ones?
Well, yeah, definitely Liza P stood out to me. That's the one I wrote down. But the other one, so like if we're doing like a good and bad, what stood out to me was the date on how fast Sonic is coming out.
Yeah.
I audibly screamed when they were like, and November 8th. I was like, November 8th? Do you have it locked down? Is the game locked down? Because, I mean, what we watched prior to the gameplay that they showed, at least for me, prior to this weekend, was just a empty, drawn out space that had nothing in it at all. Yeah. So I was trying to throw all of that away, and I was watching as the developers were talking about it and such, and the players were talking about it, the people who like actually were able to play it. And I'm not gonna go out and buy it first day, but I definitely like what I saw. Just that there was more filling in there because what I had seen didn't exactly show me how the game was going to be layered out. Was it going to be a Breath of the Wild open world, or are there sections of open world? Like that's what I was confused about prior to watching the gameplay as of late. And then when they when they announced the date, that made me more interested than a game that I would be interested normally because I want to play it. I'm more interested to see if they're able to execute all of their ideas effectively on the 8th, or if September 24th we get a pushback date or something, just like a random pushback date, which I know would be
That's
kind
such a
of
specific
unorthodox.
date.
I know.
Yeah.
If it happens, people are going to
Yep.
say you have an insight on Sega.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't know. I obviously that would be a little unorthodox to announce a delay that quickly after the big grand scale announce that they had, because I mean we're at the end of August right now.
Mm-hmm.
But that game stood out not for my excitement. That game stood out because I was like, really, November 8th? Like when I looked at the earlier footage that they had, I thought this was going to be a mid to late 2023 release. Or maybe they would do the dance that Forspoken did, because Forspoken is on its 3rd or 4th release date at this point, because it was supposed to be back. Yeah. I looked at my pre-order recently and I was like, wow, that was supposed to come out in May. Holy cow. Anyway, yep. But that's one that stood out. I don't know what you guys thought about it, if you had any thoughts on what you saw or that date.
With the Sonic game, I'm trying to hold too many of my opinions until that game comes out.
Yeah.
Like I do admit it does look to be something like a Breath of the Wild clone, and I don't know how well. Like I know the game's coming out for Switch, but I don't foresee myself getting it on Switch just because I'm afraid of performance issues.
Yep.
And with that being said, this really can't be another Sonic 06, because it feels like, and I know I didn't hate Sonic 06 as much as you guys did, like especially with how buggy and the loading times were. I was just young and dumb. But you really can't have another Sonic 06. Like this game is like kind of getting the hype that Sonic 06 was getting. And if it fails to meet that, not only have you lost out on all of the fans you've had, but you also lose out on all the new fans that are liking you because your movies are doing so well. So November 8th, like this game has been in development for a while, and I imagine that they're trying to do their best to polish it up. I just have to hope that Sega isn't trying to force it out too early before, because Sonic 3's already been announced, and that's next year again. So it's like there's so much like Sonic that I feel like they're just trying to capitalize on what Sonic brings to the table. So if that's the case, the game developers just need to make sure that the game runs all right. And I'd say even if it's like shorter, like people are going to wish there were more levels, they can add that on later. But the game at least needs to run and not be a mess at launch.
I really have no faith that this game's going to be good at all. That first gameplay they showed, which was so bad, and then for them to come out and say it's coming out in November, I just don't think there's enough time for them to fix to make this game decent. I honestly feel like it's going to be another Sonic game that's a dumpster fire. I hope not, because I want Sonic to have good games. I like Sonic as a character, but man, they better push this back. It better not come out in November. They're going to have problems.
Calling it September 24th. That's what I said, right? September 24th.
I'm going to put it in my calendar on my phone that I'll that day I'm going to wake up and be like, where is it?
Delay.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, due to unforeseen circumstances, we're going to have to push back the dates. Because we all know COVID has been tough on everybody. And
Yep. Man.
Going to something a little bit different. I don't know if you guys thought the same way I did because there was a lot of backlash in the negative sense. But the other one that I wanted to mention, if I were going to pick two, is the gameplay from High on Life, which is essentially the Justin Roiland game, aka if you want to play Rick and Morty.
Yeah.
The main consensus, or a lot of the feedback that I've seen, is actually that it was terrible, and that it seemed like the developers / Justin Roiland were trying so hard to be the Rick and Morty funny that it ended up being or not funny. And as a Rick and Morty fan, I didn't think so. I thought the game looked beautiful. I thought that the dialogue between I don't know names yet, but the main protagonist and the gun, which is essentially Morty's voice, was fantastic. And I know I have a different take, but I was excited coming out of that. And if this game was not on Game Pass, I would still buy it. I would maybe even pre-order it. I mean, I'm glad it's on Game Pass, just like I'm glad Scorn is, and
can't forget Scorn. We just can't drop Scorn, can we?
If we had an episode without Scorn,
yep.
Yeah,
we're gonna dedicate the entire
Scorn references.
That week's podcast when it comes out is going to be about nothing but Scorn. For an hour and a half, we're going to talk about Scorn.
And I'm going to be silent for an hour and a half. That's what it's going to be.
Silent. We're going to get Scorn shirts.
It's going to be me sitting here, and then at the end, I'm just finally going to lose my brain.
I hope you understand that because of this, one of us is going to mention Scorn every single podcast now.
I know.
In some way, we will find a way to bring it up.
Yeah, I subconsciously do it. Like I didn't write down to mention that. It just comes up.
Just comes up.
Maybe because I'm looking at Barry and you, Craig, obviously, as we're talking here, and maybe that's why I just see Barry.
And all we ever talk about is Scorn. Yeah.
All we ever talk about is
on our text chains, it's just Scorn every day. So that's why it's just us constantly talking about how good Scorn's going to be.
I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I have a countdown on my phone for Scorn release date.
Countdown.
Yo, absolutely.
Okay. You have a
Scorn background.
Okay.
It's my lock screen. Everything Scorn. Huh. I'm gonna find a shirt.
Of those. I need one of those like New Year's Eve clocks that have like countdown to Scorn, and then instead of like a disco ball, it's whatever weird fleshy ball thing is in one of the trailers that drops instead.
Yep.
And it's just some weird monster noise that does that instead. That's what we all need here.
The only thing, in my opinion, that could make Scorn greater than it is if they had some sort of collector's edition like Inside had. Remember the collector's edition had like the fleshy ball? You remember that? It was it was like $200, and it was like did you play that game, Craig? Inside
I didn't.
Okay. So like there's a point in Inside where you're being chased by this giant ball of flesh that has like arms and feet sticking out of it. And they went so far as to make that giant ball of flesh and as the collector's edition. And I don't remember the company that made it, but like it was like intensely made, like as real as possible. So it would feel like flesh. So if they could do that with Scorn, man, I would probably buy that.
I feel like they have to.
Yeah,
but what is it going to be? Like the whole point of this game is that it's gross and phallic.
Yeah,
what are they going to do? It's like a penis gun? You can't sell that.
Yes, you can.
I mean, you can.
You definitely can.
You can.
I would buy it in secret and put it your address, Barry, as to be delivered to.
Yeah. That's like the number one rule of business and supply chain is like there is somebody who will buy something in this world. There is always something that will buy what you think somebody won't buy.
It's not that they won't buy it, but I don't think they can sell that.
They totally can. They probably, you couldn't put it on like a major retailer, but you could sell it off of their own website, right? Like whoever
you're not getting that on Amazon.
No. To your point that you made a while ago that I'm trying to circle back to now, Craig. So Rick and Morty, I have never watched an episode because I had such a bad taste in my mouth with the diehard Rick and Morty fans that
Mm,
like I despise the diehard and how obnoxious they were at the time that I never watched Rick and Morty.
that's
So
fair.
I don't have any like tie to that. I think the game looks all right. Like since it's going to be on Game Pass, I'll 100% try it. But me specifically, like I didn't find Borderlands 3 humor obnoxious, and I know a lot of people did. So I don't think I'm gonna find this game like, oh, this humor is just obnoxious and stupid. I'm sure I'll
Mhm.
chuckle. I do think it looks nice, and as long as it plays well, like this is a perfect Game Pass game.
It is.
I think it'll do pretty well, honestly.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
was excited to see it. Go ahead.
yeah. High on Life for me is kind of a mixed bag. I don't really care for the comedy, to be honest.
Mhm.
If the game is somewhat fun and somewhat interesting, and it just seems like it seems like everything hinges on, okay, you're now an intergalactic bounty hunter, let's send you out on bounties type thing. And maybe the gun's personalities you can connect in with a way, and you're able to at least get to enjoy that little bit. But from the gameplay portion of things, like the whole like shooting of the alien that's a kid that's actually 30 years old, the whole like also the whole thing with like the two doors, and it's like tell me which one's hotter, blue or red. And it's
Mm.
just like I don't know, for me I don't get it. Like for me that's not, and I'm not sure if it's meant to be like cringy or funny or annoying or feel out of place. But for me, like I'm sitting there and I'm like, is this what like Rick and Morty comedy is? Is this what
I
you
mean,
guys are so excited about?
it's part of what the comedy is.
Yeah.
There's there's some that may go over your head, but that's the kind of, well, not go over your head, like don't make you chuckle is what I mean. It's not like the comedy's going over your head. You're both very smart guys. Um, but there's a certain aspect, and Rick and Morty fans, especially the diehard ones, will die on this hill. I will climb up the hill, but
Mhm.
I will respectfully respect other people's opinion for not finding it funny.
Yeah.
There is a certain way that it's delivered in the comedy, in the in the animation, and for what it's worth, the game will attract those fans. Um, and I find it humorous. I think it's just because I've seen the show from front to back. There's even, like, for example, there's certain things in the trailer that you'll find if you are a Rick and Morty fan, like all of the weird commercials and television shows that were going on. There's two intergalactic like television episodes where the characters majority of the time find themselves in front of a TV watching intergalactic television, which is insane because there's obviously nothing preventing any particular show being broadcasted. So there's bits and pieces, little Easter eggs for people like me who like the show to find. I think it'll play as a good shooter. I don't think the gameplay is going to be amazing. I thought that however much of that city that was in the trailer is interactive, I think will be the X factor for me. Like, is that all just pretty background stuff, and then you only get to interact with 5% of it, or what is it? So, again, the point has already been made. Perfect Game Pass game.
Yep.
But it was pretty interesting to see just a little bit more of that gameplay.
I definitely wouldn't buy it if it wasn't on Game Pass. 100% no way. But like I'll for sure give it a valid effort.
And then
So let's.
go
I was
ahead.
gonna say I'll go ahead and get into the overview of
Sure. Yeah,
the
go
other
ahead.
announcements at Gamescom. Kind of surprised, and I guess I just want you guys' quick opinions on it. Dead Island 2 finally gets a trailer
Yeah.
and a release date after 8
Mhm.
years of not being shown off. Like me personally, wow, February 3rd. This is kind of like really quickly, but I also think that's good on them.
Yeah.
I think it's good on
Mhm.
them to not have it, show this trailer and be like, okay, September of next year. Like, no. Like, attack whatever hype that you guys can grab from this game now being announced and now having a trailer and a release date for February 3rd. I think that's a smart idea, and Dead Island 2 fans have to be happy. I
Yep.
never played the first Dead Island. I don't know if it's any good.
I'm one of them. I love the first Dead Island. Riptide wasn't good. But yeah, it's more Dead Island, and I think it looked pretty good as far as like, I don't know. I just think it looked impressive. So as long as they can stick the gameplay of what the original one felt like, I'm in.
I would say the same. They've had plenty of time for that type of game to evolve, and you see bits and pieces in other games, like we talked about, like Dying Light 2 shows a lot of that. It's just that plus parkour
Yeah.
for the most part, you know. So it'll be interesting to see what they do, and it's just nice seeing Dead Island with up to date visuals as well, even if it's
Yeah.
just the second one. That's one of the things that made me unable to like go back and play Dead Island in like the last 3 years. Is just I can't look at it anymore.
Yeah, it's pretty pretty.
Yeah, you know, these eyes have been pampered with amazing visuals, so
Yep.
you know, but it looks, you know, it looks like it's gonna be good.
Yeah.
Gotham Knights is getting a new release date, coming out on October 21st. Showed off new major villains as Harley Quinn, Kate Clayface, and also some other villains from the Batman universe. And then we have Hogwarts Legacy, with a new trailer showing off a bit more of Slytherin, the dark, the forbidden spells, and apparently zombies.
Yeah.
There's zombies in the movies and books.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of more of the things that I'm interested in, so I want to spend a little bit of time on it. The Forspoken gameplay. What did you guys think?
I'm still excited to play that game.
Mm-hmm. It looked great. The hub city looked a little bland, but I mean, they were running around. I was kind of half paying attention to her talking about the game, half paying attention to like the city that you know they were walking through. But the gameplay looked great. Really takes spells to a whole new level, and I like games that add like a really cool traversing mechanic and make it really fluid with the character that you're watching as well. So those are the things that I took away. I mean, I'm excited for Forspoken. I've been excited since before when it was originally released. They don't really have to they don't have to prove anything to me anymore. I'm just excited to play it.
Do you get I
Yeah.
still get Horizon vibes from it. Like Horizon
Yeah.
Zero Dawn.
Yeah.
It looks like
Yeah.
kind of that style.
Well, one of the things that I want us to talk about next week is more about like there's a pretty big conversation going on about the stereotyping that's
Mhm.
going on right now in Forspoken, and I guess I don't know much about it to comment on it at the moment. I don't know what I do know. It's like something about like the nail polish was a big thing when the game was an early release. I need to know more about. There's been a discussion online about like the stereotyping and how like in Justin Roiland's High on Life game, it's done in like a really satire way and is meant to be and is kind of very obvious about how funny it's trying to be, where Forspoken stereotyping seems to be more ironic and isn't playing well with fans apparently. We come next week I'll have more information and try to figure out what's going on or why fans feel that way, but like for me the gameplay, I thought it looked awesome. I do think the spells like and everything look good. I just wonder at what point do my spells look that good, and when do I finally get to do all the cool stuff? Is it
Yeah.
10 hours in, 20 hours in? Is it is it near end game that we're seeing all these cool spells that I see them do it in the trailer, but will I be able to do it somewhat early in the game to keep me interested in it?
Yeah, I also appreciate how fast you can move around the open world. Because like I love how pretty Horizon's world looks, but like man, it would take a
Oh my
long time
gosh.
if you didn't fast travel to get from place to
Yes.
place. And it got to the point where I was like, I understand they put a lot of work into making this look beautiful, but like I just have to fast travel everywhere because I can't do these 15-minute walks anymore. That's why I stopped playing Red Dead Redemption 2, because it was
Yeah.
just like, oh my god, just let me get to the missions. So yeah, I appreciate that. Like you can literally be like zipping around, and I thought that was cool.
Yeah, and I agree with you, Craig. Horizon never got the mounting system down for me, like the
Yep.
mounts themselves, because the mounts, I mean, in Forbidden West they were cool, but like for the majority of the time you had either a clunky one or, like you had the classic I'm forgetting what the name of the machine is right now, but it's the one that's like a grazer that you
Yeah.
get like early on. But they had like a more expansive, or not more expansive. They had a couple more machines that you can mount in the current one, but it never. I usually ran with
Yep.
Aloy 90% of the time. Still,
Yep.
like,
And the coolest one you didn't get till the end, like the flying
Yeah.
bird one.
yeah,
That
the
was
Sunwing or
that was so
yeah,
cool, but you don't get it till the very end. I'm like,
yeah.
give me that one near the beginning because that was awesome. But yeah, I think Forspoken is. I don't know anything about the controversy either, so I'm gonna have to look into that. But that aside, I think the gameplay, I don't find. Uh, I saw everybody was kind of complaining about her humor, her sarcasm. I don't find that obnoxious. At least I didn't from what I've seen so far. So I'm still excited for this game.
Cool. All right. Next up is going to be Where Winds Meet. I thought that trailer looked really awesome. Looks to definitely kind of take a page out of the Ghost of Tsushima book, where it seems to be based in China. It's going to be like super medieval, likewise. Another probably samurai-like tale. I'm all for it. I thought it looked awesome, and as long as it can, I would prefer if it can do a little bit better job on the storytelling aspect. Like where Ghost of Tsushima, like you got more of the story as long as you played all of the other
Mhm.
characters' side bits. Where I'm hoping that this ends up getting the story baked in more, where it's not all optional. I just want to I want to experience it the way that they intend it to be.
Mhm.
Yeah, do you feel like this game, like I'm rewatching the trailer now, but like it is Ghost of Tsushima, but do you feel like it leans more into like an anime side?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Like just some of his moves, I'm like, okay, like I think it looks fun, but it's definitely not as grounded. Is that I don't know if that's the right way to put it as opposed to Ghost of Tsushima. But yeah, I think it should be fun.
I mean, to be fair, there's a lot of things that are not going to measure up in terms of like being well rounded, like
Yeah,
Ghosts of Tsushima.
true.
I don't. They A to Z executed that almost to perfection.
Yeah.
But it looks fun.
It's just a couple other small things. Hideo Kojima starting a podcast called Brain Structure. That was a
Yes,
weird little segment in the show, but so be it.
I'm gonna listen to it. I have to. I like Metal Gear Solid and the
He's
whole
gonna
like Metal Gear
ramble
universe that much.
for hours about what his favorite band is at the moment. That's what he's gonna do.
Yeah, I'll listen to 5 minutes of it and
Yeah.
power through the.
Yep.
I'm excited.
Atlas Fallen. That was the gameplay trailer that seemed to have wizards and
I don't remember. That one.
there was a lot in that trailer, but I thought it like they had really cool like monster design that was made of sand, and that you were
Yeah.
just kind of gathering a bunch of different elements as well. I thought the game looked cool. It's just I fear it's another looter shooter, and for me, like looter shooters, I just don't get into very often. I just
Mhm.
feel like the looting and the grinding portion of things is never fun enough for me. So
Kind of looks like
keep
a
that in
Monster
mind.
Hunter.
Yeah,
It does. There's
yeah,
large hammers and such
Yeah.
involved, and
yeah.
Okay.
the traversal across the sand looked good.
Yeah.
So you guys may know about this because I have no idea and it meant nothing to me. Killer Clown is getting
Yeah.
its
Yeah.
multiplayer game.
Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
I have no idea what
You
any of
never
that
watched the
is.
movie?
No. It came
Really?
Oh,
out
wow.
in 1987.
That
No,
doesn't matter.
19
People, that's like a cult classic.
It is a
ne-
cult classic.
never watched it, but that also might be because I am deathly afraid of clowns. Like
That would be
in
part of it, probably.
in
Also,
the
this game
area.
looks like crap.
Oh, okay.
It
Fair
does
enough.
look like crap.
I signed up for the
Uh,
beta though, but yeah, it looks terrible.
with on my portion of things, and I'll explain it a little bit, is where I kind of grew up a little bit. There was a amusement park that did like October like Haunt Fest, and I could do the scarecrows, I could do the zombies, I could do all the haunted houses, but the moment we got toward the clown stuff, I'm like, you know what? That ain't me, dog.
That
I
ain't
will.
me, dog.
I'll do anything else. You want to go in the haunted cornfields? I'll go in the haunted cornfields. Go
Yeah.
ahead. I'm all right with that. But anything with clowns, nah, get me away.
It's a no for me,
I ain't
dog.
messing with those things.
Man.
Yeah.
I think like my wife was terrified as a kid because they made her watch Killer Clowns from Outer Space. I just think it's a movie that if you were to watch now is like it's very funny because it's so
Yeah.
over the top and like I don't know. I still think I was just in Spirit today and they have like a life-size $300 animatronic of one of them. I'm like, man, I don't have that kind of nostalgia for this movie, but like I don't know, it's a cool movie. We don't need a game at all.
We don't. We don't. And
There's
you know
a
what? Every
million of
time I
these
see it again,
games.
there is. And like that's the next question is what
Mhm.
scary movie from the 90s or 80s or 70s is going to get how long do you think 25 years from now? Because I'm just going by when games are being
Mhm.
created from what decade and such like that. Do you think we get like a Ring multiplayer hide from
Uh,
the
maybe.
well game? Like, and then is there going to be a Grudge game in 26 years? And then like even like that's what it seems is happening. We don't need this game.
Mm-mm.
And you know what what Killer Clowns reminds me of also from like around the same area in terms of movies is like Mars Attacks. Like it's like that cheesy
Yep.
comedy. Humans have like 50% of the intelligence they normally have while these things are killing them kind of thing. And we don't need this game. There's not enough hype.
No.
With Killer Clowns. It's not like there's been, I don't know if there's been a group ranting and raving to get them back, you know, but
No, there isn't.
I don't, yeah, there's not.
This
And
game's gonna have a dead multiplayer section in like 6 months after it comes out.
yeah, there's going to
Well,
be
and
people
I
who
just,
try it and test it. And no.
Yeah.
yeah, I just feel like all they're trying to do is kind of catch on with the what is it, Seven Nights to Die or
Yep. And Friday the 13th.
and Friday
Friday
the
the
13th. Like
13th.
those
Yep.
games are
And
taking
Evil
advantage
Dead.
of
Evil Dead. Yep.
Yeah, they're trying to take advantage of like the copyrighted killer multiplayer type thing. But here's the thing, like, and it's the same thing with what feels like to be Left 4 Dead games right now. Now we have these games out, and now the market's going to get so saturated to the
Mhm.
point where, okay, none of these games stick and they sell terribly, and then people lose their jobs because, they're like, oh, we need to do something like this. And then it's
Yeah.
like, well, there already is an established player base for these games, and it's not easy to move them from their established games. So, we're going to get this game, and you guys are right. I have a feeling that within 3 months, or the hardcore fan base that's screaming for this game, I guess, is going to be very disappointed at the fact that the game sells terribly and they stop supporting it within a year.
Yeah. Agreed. Watch us be wrong. Watch us be the one that takes off.
This is the one.
It's one way of thinking about it.
Yep.
And lastly, on my end, the Lords of the Fallen. If you guys watch this trailer, it had a really corny mother track over it. It looks like
Yes.
medieval Dark Souls, pretty much. It looks to be exactly just like a Dark Souls game. I'm all for it.
Mhm.
Give me more of it. I don't know. It's just something about like knights, magic, and like the kind of enemy design of that era that I really enjoy. So
what was that other one? Was it also called Lords of Fallen?
So this is
Lords
a
of-
reboot
Of
of
that
the
game?
2014 game.
Because I liked that game. I played it not too long ago.
Okay, there you go. You're
Okay,
getting a
so, yeah.
reboot.
That's cool. I like that game a lot.
But that's all the news we have for this week. Hopefully that's enough for you guys. There's also like a ton of other, I will say, Gamescom announcements, but there's kind of too many to go over all at once. And I think for the most part, all of the big news is what we've talked about here,
Yep.
especially. So we're going to go ahead and get into games played this week, which for me, I played the Splatoon 3 Splatfest demo. The DioField Chronicles demo has come out on Switch as well. and most likely what will take up the rest of my um probably the rest of my holiday season here, Soul Hackers 2.
All right. This past week was Saints Row week. Saints Row finally came out, but also not to be forgotten is I played some Soul Hackers 2, baby.
Whoa, are we gonna have the trifecta talk about it?
Three
Have
people
we,
talking about Soul Hackers 2.
what?
Yep. What'd you play, Craig? Let me guess.
I
Soul Hackers 2,
did
baby.
I did not play Soul Hackers.
Ah.
I did. So Soul Hackers 2, I don't have a lot of games played. I really don't have a lot of watch, but we'll get to that either. But I beat Cult of the Lamb.
Okay.
But I talked about it for the majority of the time last week, so I really don't have much to say besides the game is still great. And then Soul Hackers 2, I'm excited to talk for all three of us to talk about the same game.
Yeah, but
Like.
the problem is Craig is playing Soul Hackers 2 so he can make fun of us. He probably hates the game.
You don't know if I like it or don't like it.
You're absolutely
there is
right.
less
I haven't texted any of you about it. You didn't even know I was
That's
going to
true.
play it.
That's
You don't
true.
know
This
what
is-
I'm going to say.
There is
You're
less reading. That's in our favor. There's a lot of dedicated.
There's less
speaking
reading.
Well, than some of the others. Some of the other games that we've
Okay.
been making fun of
All
for
right.
the last couple of months.
I already know where this is
In
going.
comparison. All right.
What?
I'll go ahead and get into my two demos because they're
Yes.
demos, not real actual games. Splatoon 3 Splatfest. It's pretty much a
Splat.
demo. They're pretty much testing the servers to make sure that they're going to be able to handle everybody coming in when the game releases. Splatoon still plays well. Splatoon is this guilty pleasure for me because it's such a simple shooter. It's not like Call of Duty where they are adding more guns to the game, but you don't have 16 different assault rifles, 10 different sniper rifles, 5 different machine guns. Like, I like the simplicity of the fact that, okay, this is the gun I get, this is what I'm going to be working with. This gun has a particular special I could use, and if I like it, great. If not, I need to switch to another gun and learn another gun, type of thing. I thought the technical demo went over well. One thing I suggest everybody to do is, the gyroscope is kind of fun, but just turn it off. Like the motion control type thing, it's a cool gimmick at first, and maybe I'll play it during story mode because it might add a little bit something to it. But for multiplayer, I play with the motion controls off. But the maps are fun. They're pretty big, which I like. It doesn't feel like it's always claustrophobic and me getting right into the action. It's kind of a little bit more of a build-up between that. And I honestly think that this is in line to be like the best Splatoon that they've released. And I'm excited for that. It's
good.
This type of shooter isn't for everybody. Like, I'll just be flat out honest in that, is that it is a shooter that is like trying to have fun with itself. It's not like this super serious Call of Duty, Medal of Honor, Battlefield game. It's trying to be colorful, fun, and welcoming. And every time I load into the game, I always feel welcomed, I guess. And always feel like I could, whenever I load into the game, I know I can play a couple games and I'm not going to have the most horrible time of my life. Like, where if I play Warzone, I can play 7 games and know that I might be in for the worst night of my life in 7 straight games of Warzone. Splatoon's not that bad, so I'm overall very optimistic for Splatoon.
Okay.
Good.
Next up is the DioField Chronicles, another Square Enix turn-based game. The art is fantastic. It's an anime game, so again, the art is fantastic. I love the turn-based strategy of it. It definitely feels like a triangle strategy type of game. Like, I feel like, much like I said about like oversaturation of the market, we're starting to get there, where Fire Emblem has really had like a hold on this market for a while. We're now getting into the point where, triangle strategy, and now we're getting into the DioField Chronicles with it as well. It does seem to be more like wartime strategy, where that is a lot of what triangle strategy does, but it's also about all of like the making decision type things that triangle strategy really tries to put in you. But the DioField Chronicles, I think it's a good technical demo. again, it's anime, and I really really love the art and the voice acting. It's really good.
Awesome.
So
Uh,
I have to t-
let's talk about the most controversial game, Saints Row 2, or Saints Row Reboot,
it's
I should
just
say.
Saints Row. Come on
I thought you were
now.
gonna say. I thought you were gonna
Sorry,
say
sorry.
Scorn.
Okay. First and foremost, it's getting it's pretty controversial right now, isn't it? A lot of
Yeah,
people
it
hate
is.
it. There's
Yeah.
people standing up for it. Everybody who hates it, y'all need to shut up. Let me just put it this way. I've said this before. Saints Row 3 is where the series took off, right? That's the one that everybody looks at as like the pinnacle. Whereas for me, Saints Row 2 was like the highlight of this series. 3 was fun. I really liked 3, but that's when you started getting into the craziness, right? That's when they came up with the crazy weapons. That's when you were like flying everywhere, like jetpacks and stuff.
Yeah.
Whereas Saints Row 2 is where it was still like Saints Row 1 was a complete GTA ripoff. Saints Row 2, they're like, let's kind of go our own little way. Let's make it a little bit crazier, not so like down to earth, like gritty, that kind of thing. Saints Row, this reboot, is doing what I wanted them to do, which is to take the crazy, let's tone it back down to where Saints Row 2 was, and let's start there again. Because for me personally, that's what I wanted, and that's what I got. I think the characters are an important part of any Saints Row game, and I appreciate that they're not as obnoxious as some of the Saints Row characters were in the later games. I At its core, Saints Row has always been like you start your gang, you get your headquarters, and then you start building it up and putting money into it, decorating it how you want. I've always appreciated, just like GTA, that like you can decorate and customize your cars in a million different ways. But yeah, that's all the stuff that I loved in Saints Row 2. They have taken here and retooled it to be better. I think the story is pretty good. I don't have any issues with it. I'm having a blast. I think it's absolutely fantastic. I can understand where people are like, "Oh man, I really like the zany, over the top Saints Row, and I'm not getting that anymore." But I'm on the opposite end of that, so I'm going to be like, "Yes, this is exactly what I wanted. This is what I was hoping it would be, and I knew from the second I started the game that's what I was going to get, and I appreciated that." So for me, this is going to be probably one of my higher games of the year. And I know it's getting absolutely just blasted review wise right now, but I'm telling you right now, it's probably going to be in my top 10 at the end of the year. Easily.
I'll have to take your recommendation to heart.
Yeah.
I really like should like Saints Row. I like kind of zany
Mm-hmm.
type of things that kind of suspend realism for at least a little bit. And I should give it a shot. I'm glad like you at least recommend it, because everybody I've talked to says, or everybody I should say listen to, says
Yeah.
to pass on it because the game is in like a broken state, unplayable,
Right.
game crashing, glitches. Like I like
Which I
funny
haven't
glitches,
had.
which apparently
Yeah.
there's a decent amount of like really funny glitches, which I'm all
Mm-hmm.
for. Like give me more of those.
Oh
Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
But if you think so, then I have to give it a shot. I know a lot of people like say that, and I'm not sure. There's this one portion in the game where you're setting up a heist for your teammates,
Mm-hmm.
and your teammates go in it, but you sit in the car and and wait and watch them do it, which I
Mm-hmm.
will have to say, like, definitely doesn't sound like fun.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess we have to see what happens, like with the rest of it. But
Right.
that's like
I,
there are certain things about that are coming out about the game where it's like, oh, I might have to wait just to try it because
right.
that kind of
I
thing.
have seen that. Like, there are definitely glitches for sure. And I think they just put out a patch, like a big patch. I haven't had any game breaking glitches. So I can't speak to those. I'm sure they're out there. I just, I don't understand where we got to the point where everybody's like, you have to either love GTA and hate Saints Row, or love Saints Row and hate GTA. Like, there's room for both. They're not identical games. At their
They
core,
are.
they are this, it's an open world gang related game, but like they are so different that I don't understand why everybody's like, well, GTA is the best, so like this game, don't even touch it. It's terrible. It sucks no matter what they do. I think there's room for both, especially since Rockstar doesn't seem to have any rush or urgency to put out another GTA. They just want to sit
Yeah.
back and take the
Yeah.
GTA Online money. So that, yes, somebody like Saints Row should come in and take some of that. But yeah, I have come to peace with the fact that most people are probably going to say this game sucks, it's awful, but my opinion is going to be completely different of that.
And I respect that. You know, I also did not give Saints Row a try, or as big of a try as I should. Not that I was ever downplaying it. I just never stepped into the world. And you know, I might go alongside with what Barry's saying, and I might give it a shot this go around. You know, like
Yeah.
you gave a very convincing argument as well.
Yeah.
And I haven't had enough people in my life tell me positive things about Saints Row. I've definitely had enough people tell me negative things about Saints Row.
Right.
Just as a series. And part of it probably is just it's not GTA thing, but
Yep.
there is enough money in the market and demographic in the market and not enough people doing it as well as either game for both games to exist to the fan base and extended fan base that they should, you know?
Yeah. I know like Saints Row 2 has not aged well, right? And like I always recommend that game, but going back and playing it now, if you don't have an affinity for it, is probably terrible. But what I would say to get like a feel of what Saints Row does differently as opposed to GTA, if you look up on YouTube, there is a mission in Saints Row 2 that I don't even remember the name of the mission. That's not important. But as you're driving to the mission and you have one of your companions, right, one of your friends in the car with you, on the radio, and this will speak to the time it came out. Neo, the So Sick. You remember that song?
Oh yeah, I remember that song.
Okay, so that comes on while you're driving to the mission, and you and your companion they start singing this song as they're driving, and they're so bad and it's hilarious. And to me, like that was the moment playing that game back then on like the 360, where I was like, this is like something different that they did that I thought was so cool and so funny. I literally like stopped the car before I got to the mission just so I could hear the whole thing. And it's like, that's the kind of stuff I like that Saints Row does, like those small things in there. So yeah, I can't recommend playing Saints Row 2 today, but at least look that up to get an idea of what I think the heart of a Saints Row game is.
Okay.
Okay. So Craig and I have both gone into the demos, and Craig went into Saints Row. Craig, I want you to give us the Soul Hackers 2. Oh, he hates it. He hates it. He hates it.
Game
it's
of the year.
over.
Game of the year.
No, I just no. I didn't know where to start. So for me, as a new,
hold on, let me get comfortable.
As a new Atlas fan, in the last 2 or 3 year Atlas fan, as a person who has said on this podcast and to close friends and family that he will basically purchase whatever Atlas drops because they have proven themselves to him. I saw essentially a medium straight down the line version of Shin Megami Tensei and Persona. And I'm freaking K with it. So leaning towards the more Shin Megami Tensei, you have a more demon type of world where Persona 5 more so leans towards the depths of souls, people's souls and what they're feeling on the inside and such like that. After playing that and then going to Shin Megami Tensei, where it's just straight up demons all the time. And, you know, and then coming into this where it's more of a lighthearted delivery of such. I like that you get thrown in this world. They tell you the story in the beginning. They have the classic cutscenes that you would expect from an Atlas game, the amount of time it would take to kind of flesh out in addition to tutorial time. They essentially get you all 5 characters that you're basically going to be playing as out the get-go. So I don't want to make this sound like a difference between like a Shin Megami Tensei and a Persona, but Persona 5, you still were getting characters 60 hours in. Like, depending on how long you played, you got like a new character. You know, here they're like, here they are. Here's what they do. There are two twins that essentially have the ability, after being created by what is essentially information itself, the internet itself and information itself. They're trying to stop a plot. World is about to be destroyed, which is 90% of games anyway.
Yep.
Twins come in. One twin resurrects the other three characters that you're going to play with the rest of the game in the first 5 hours. And I was like, I'm down. All right. Music's great. The shops have the shoppy music. Barry texted me and he was like, "Yo, what did you say? The music slaps."
Oh yeah, this music slaps.
This music slaps. The shops have shoppy music.
I never
the dungeons have dungeony
I watch
music.
the opening every single time.
The opening is fantastic. The opening is fantastic. I want to get the soundtrack as soon as possible already. What I like is I like that combination of the persona. I'm going into the cities and I'm talking to people and I'm gathering my friendship levels to try so that eventually through the power of friendship I will level up, which is how Atlas takes life and puts it into exactly.
Everybody hold hands.
Exactly. And I really kind of enjoy that portion because after a nice dungeon, I don't know if you guys are still like this. I'm still like a kid in this. After a long dungeon, I still like going back to like the hub area. It just feels great. You go back, you upgrade yourself, you take a breath, you just beat something hard, and you come back, and all your friends are waiting for you, and they're like, "How things going?" But where the game succeeds for me is it does things from both genres or both families of games under the Atlas umbrella that I like. I get the dark world is ending plot. I have the same demons that they keep recreating and recreating and recreating. It's the same ones that I'm used to from all the other Atlas games. That's not going to be unfamiliar. There's a couple of new ones to me, but I haven't played every Atlas game. And then they also take the colorful side. There's a lot of purple in this game. I don't know if you guys know purple is my favorite color. There is a lot
of purple's on behind you right now.
Yeah, right. That's purple. So there's a lot of color in this game, and they really take the characters. Ringo's wearing this awesome jacket. My wife came in while I was playing, and she was like, "I want Ringo's jacket and her boots." Like they really made the characters and the environment look a lot better. And coming from Shin Megami Tensei 5, which is very Switch bland colored, to this like PS5 colorful world was a nice transition for me. I'm about 10 or 15 hours in. They have your standard fetch quests that you get from in town, and you go from here to there. The shops could be more centralized for me. There's like 85 shops, and you have to keep going to like, the map isn't set up correctly for me because they're like individual on the map. And then the area where two of the shops is on the map. So that's like a small thing of mine, but I like the dialogue. I can't get over Milady. That's not her name. I hate
that name so much. I know that's Melody, not how you pronounce it, but stop it. Stop it. There's no reason to name somebody. I know that's not how you pronounce it. To name them Milady. Stop it.
I want to hear more from Craig on this, because I'm 90% I'm like 90% into my point, and I know Barry's going to say some things that I'm probably thinking as well. I want to hear more about your thoughts on Milady.
Go ahead, Barry.
So just for me, he does, and Craig does mention a lot of the points that I like about it as well. It does feel like a really good mixture of the two, and I definitely do prefer the bright and more colorful world in this kind of man, what is there's like a word for it that's almost like Tokyo cyberpunk type of vibe to it, where it's like neon green, purple. It's all this type of like colors that I like and enjoy because it's different from Persona, which doesn't really ever get that colorful other than like the uniform that the students wear. And then as you mentioned with Shin Megami Tensei, it's literally just sand colored everywhere is what it is.
It's just sand.
Yeah, it's just sand everywhere.
That's all they could do on the Switch. That's it.
Exactly. So when it comes to the other stuff, like one of the things that I do think that needs to eventually happen here is I do think they need to start like redesigning the demons and making it so it like it is a sense of familiarity with me when I go into these games, but it's also something where it's like, oh, it's the same demons I've been playing with for the past 7 years, where
Yeah.
that needs to kind of start to show some progress here. They can't just continue to reuse the same demons in my mind. They just can't. They need to eventually scrap and make something new. And I get that these demons are based off of like things like Norse, um Greek, like Chinese, Japanese, all like
Christianity. Yeah.
yeah, like it's all about like
Yeah.
mythology and religion in that type of sense. So I get that these characters do have, or like the demons do have like their standard looks to them, but maybe throw them like in the back end of the game and then I get that familiarity. I would like to jump into the game and feel something brand new in a way where it's not just,
Yeah.
the first demon you ever get to see is the pixie or like Jack Frost,
Every
and yeah,
time. Every
those are
time.
staples
Furry? You
in
mean the
these
furry?
games.
Those are the Weedles and Caterpies and Pidgeys of the game,
Yeah.
Yeah.
essentially.
And I guess really the only other kind of bad thing I have to say about it is I think the camera angle's stupid.
Yep.
I don't know how to
It is.
explain it, but it's kind of like
It's too
they
low.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
exactly how I feel. It's too low. Like I get,
Yep.
and I don't know if they're trying to sell the sexuality that like Ringo has or that Feig has or that any of them have, but just like
No,
Why would they? They
just
would never.
go
they would
higher.
never.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why do I have to feel like I'm slightly below Ringo's butt and like
Or at
have
least
to
let you
see?
change it.
Yeah, and I know you can. I just don't
Okay.
know like if you could specifically change the height. I do remember seeing
Okay.
camera options in there. I just need to see whether or not they allow you to go higher. If I can go higher,
Okay.
great. But if it's centered like that, I just thought it was really weird and stupid. It took some getting used
Creepy.
to because
Mhm.
Yeah.
it feels creepy, and
Yep.
I
Yeah.
just don't know if like, oh man, I get to watch Ringo's heels and puddles in that first level. Like I
Yep.
don't know what the point is. Just like make it so like I feel like personal with the character, but not like a creep. I don't know. It's a weird thing that I need to get used to or even fix. So
They know their
that's where I
audience.
am. But I
I know the
do
audience.
Yeah.
really like this game. I think that the world is very
good.
unique, and I like that. I
Mhm.
like this whole, you know, and it's a typical anime story where everything goes wrong within the first 10 seconds, and it's like, okay, like I get it. Like there's a reason everything's gone wrong in the first 10 seconds. Like it's going to amount to something here. But the where Persona kind of tends to tackle like high school drama and a little bit more of like evil corporations, this one has to do with Ringo dealing a lot with like learning about humanity cuz she's really stuck up. Like she likes to pretend she knows everything because she's a information like literally born of a computer, and she doesn't really understand how humans interact with stuff, and I just kind of like that storyline in a way. It's kind of like how Raised by Wolves, like that really weird show for me. It's like the androids don't really know much about how like humans feel and how humanity works and like the afterlife and everything like that, where Ringo starts to learn it through her many characters that she gets to interact with. But yeah, like it's
Yeah.
those couple bad things, but overall, like I'm full on for Soul Hackers 2, and I'm hacking more souls after the podcast.
Yeah, and you know what's funny, Barry? You bring up a good point because they did this in Persona 5 Strikers with Sophie,
Yeah,
where there was another thing that, or another specifically information born thing that was learning humanity, but they did it in a Persona way with a Persona feel. A bunch of friends adopt it. They treat it like high school if a new kid was coming in, and they just show her through decision making what humanity is like. But this one, you're right, where Ringo and Fig are learning in the way that it should happen in the Soul Hackers world, which is a little bit dark, like
A darker,
I would
more
say
adult
a little
tone.
bit dark. Exactly. So you bring up a great point there. It's great. I can't wait to play it again. That's what I'm gonna be doing that.
All
After
right,
this too.
Craig,
So.
tear down all my hopes and aspirations. Tell me how much you hate this game, and tell me how
This
much
game
it's.
sucks so bad.
Yeah, I knew
I'm
it.
just
There it
kidding.
is.
I'm just kidding. I had some points that I wanted to make sure I brought up. So we need to hit the brakes, and we
Okay.
need to go all the way back to the beginning. Okay,
All the way back.
take
right.
yourself
We're going all the way
back to the beginning.
Okay.
I want to go to the very first video cutscene when they're explaining the world. Okay, do you remember it?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I have never seen such a big amount of word vomit to try and just throw as many big words as they can out there to try to sound smart. And what comes out is the most incoherent nonsense. I like the story. I think the story is cool, but I was literally watching that intro and I was laughing. I was like,
Yeah.
I don't know if is it maybe a translation thing, like going to English maybe, but like the amount of gigantic words that they were throwing out there, I'm like, this is so unnecessary, and you're trying to make yourself sound so much smarter than this needs to be. We get it. The world is ending. You got to save these two people. That's all I needed. But instead, you get this like 15-minute thing about information, and I couldn't even tell you because I was like, this is so stupid, so dumb. But anyway, I had to start with that because I had to bring that up. I was like, this is like, anytime a word does the word vomit thing, I always find it hilarious and I always chuckle because I'm like, you're just trying to impress yourself at this point. But I like the characters. I don't have a lot of in-depth time with Persona and Shin Megami Tensei because I haven't played Shin Megami Tensei at all. I played Persona 5 for like 15 hours before I stopped. I enjoy the battle system coming from somebody who's newish to this
Likes
style.
the battle system. Okay.
I like
progress, boys.
I like the battle system. I like the idea of when you find the attack that's a weakness that you get to have a bonus attack afterwards. I like that. That's cool. Like, to me, I was like, this is very cool. I was going to bring up the camera angle, but you already did. It is very creepy. If I can change it, that would be great.
I'll take a look.
Yeah. I mean, the characters are a little obnoxious, but I think they're supposed to be, right? So I don't take offense to that. I'm like, yeah, she's the know-it-all because she knows it all. Right?
Know-it-all
right. Like that's how I take it. I don't have any issue with how the story starts. I was kind of like, oh, okay, we got to go save these two people. I'm ready. And they're both dead. Okay.
Yep.
Like, I was like, okay, all right, I see where we're going. But yeah, I mean, am I going to finish this game? Who knows? Probably not, because there's a million other games and this is going to be a 3,000-hour game. I can already tell. But I'm enjoying my time with it. I don't hate it. It was just that intro to me was laughable. But after I got through that, what is that, like 30 minutes or so, 20 minutes?
I think it's definitely toward 20. It's not 30. Let's not be dramatic here, Craig.
I love it cracks me up every time when they give you the big intro cutscene. You're like, all right, I got the story. And then it goes to your first dungeon, right? And you're like, all right, here comes my 5-minute non-cutscene, but talking. Got it. Yeah. All right, got control. Let me walk 5 feet. Cutscene.
Tutorial.
Every time, every game. I'm like, all right, I got control. Let's go. And I got to put the controller down again. Every time. And I also thought it was hilarious that every time there's a cutscene, in the bottom right corner is the button to skip. Like, they're like, we know you want to skip this. We know you're tired. Just press the button, and it never goes away. It's always in the corner. Like, hey, do you want us to auto advance these? Hey, do you want to skip this cutscene? I was like, do you not even care about your cutscenes? Is that why you're putting that there? Because most games, it's invisible until you press start, right? And then it pops up and it's like, are you sure you want to skip? But yeah, I just thought it was funny. It's always in the corner. Like they know. They're like, you don't want to listen to this.
You don't want to listen to this dribble.
But yeah, it's not terrible. It won't. I don't think it'll end up on like a top 10 for me because I can almost guarantee you I won't put the. I'll be generous. The 100 hours it takes to beat this game. There's just too many other games. I'm trying to get through Saints Row. We got NBA coming out, and then a bazillion other games. So it'll probably get lost. But for the time being, I'm having a good time. So I didn't hate it, Perry.
That's like the most positive.
We have a consensus game of the year. We can
we
stop the
could have ever
podcast.
seen.
We don't have to do
I will-
anything else.
I will
Consensus
fight
game of the year.
both
no
of
more.
you if you put this anywhere higher than 5. I will fight.
What
both
if the
of
rest
you
of the
because
games
I
are
think
bad?
this is gonna.
Huh?
This is gonna beat out. This
What
is
if
gonna
the
beat
other
out
games are
Callisto
bad?
Protocol.
There's no way this is a top 5 game of the year. I can entertain in my mind if you guys both think this is top 10, but this game is literally doing absolutely 0 things new. 0. Nothing in this game hasn't been done before. Nothing.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Like, what if Callisto
gonna beat out.
Protocol sucks? I'm
It
not
won't.
going to count Last of Us because it's technically just like a
Yeah, that doesn't
remastered
count.
graphical overhaul. God of
Yep.
War shouldn't suck, but what if that sucks?
It won't.
Gotham Knight could
won't.
absolutely suck.
Oh yeah,
um,
Gotham could.
That could.
Barry,
Let
do
me
you know?
just see.
Do you realize that I keep a list on my phone throughout the year of my top games of the year, and I have 17 right now?
Yeah,
So
I
what
bet
you're
you-
that
saying
sounds
is-
about right.
I bet you do too.
I do,
Exactly.
but it could get.
There's
but,
already
like,
going to
the-
be a ton of anime games. This one does not deserve to be in there, and you know it.
But if the ending is good enough, I'm gonna throw
won't
it
be.
up there. If I
It
get
won't
that
be.
same empty feeling I get when I beat
won't.
Persona 5 because like I realize I have nothing left to live for in this life, I'm gonna put it number 1.
Barry, I'm going to tell you this right now. I'm looking at my list. I have my top games, right?
Soul
There
Hackers
will
is number
be-
3.
If you even try to put this higher than Golf Plus, I will
Then
fight
Golf
you.
Plus.
You
Golf
Barry,
Plus is
know
a lot of,
Golf
Golf,
Plus
Golf
deserves
Plus
to
is
be higher.
really is a lot of fun. Yeah, I absolutely
Thank
agree
you.
with that.
Sorry, Barry. First impressions, Barry. How high do you think Soul Hackers 2 can get on your list just from what you've played thus far? How high do you actually think it could get on your
This
list?
is a top 20 game.
A 9. I think you got a 9.
Okay.
You think you can get a 9? That's fair.
Yeah, that's the
I
max.
would be
I think
okay
that's
with
fair.
that. I would be
I-
okay with that.
I'm giving some points down because we are seeing a lot of the same stuff that we're seeing. It's definitely not a 10. It's not like that fresh masterpiece that was Persona 5 that it'll always get compared to. But
Sure.
I
Yeah.
could definitely see like 9, high 8, like if it hits all the right notes.
It's not
Okay.
doing anything new. It's not a bad game. I'm enjoying it. There's nothing here that's new. That is like, oh my god, this is incredible.
And I do agree
mean,
with
that's
you,
fair.
but
Yeah.
here's the thing, and other Craig knows about this. At the end
Pulling my
of
list.
like beating a game like Persona 5, and I know I keep bringing up Persona 5, but it's because these games
Yeah.
share so many similarities. At the end of Persona 5 and Persona 5 Royal, I sat there in my chair just like watching the credits roll. Like, what do I do with my life after this game?
Yeah.
If I feel the same way, that's how I know it's a 9
Okay.
at
Yeah,
maximum.
that's
Okay, so
I,
Barry,
You felt that way too, Craig. I know you did.
I
like,
did.
After
I-
you put 200 plus hours to a game into a
you shouldn't
game,
have to do that.
like you shouldn't have to, but your
I was like,
connection with these
yeah, at the
characters,
end,
That's
your
yeah, and it
overstaying
was-
connection
your
with
then-
these
welcome.
and then it was-
characters.
and then it was over, and I was like, "But where did my friends go?" Like, you know,
Exactly.
it's like,
God.
Exactly.
that's-
I can still name the entire
Where did
cast
my
of
friends
Persona
go?
5 Royal. I can still name them all as if I had it
God.
like, and I haven't played that game in 3 or 4 plus years now. I forget when Royal came
Yeah.
out, but
it's been like that
Hey.
long now.
Just tell me this real quick.
shoot,
Will
yeah.
this game be higher on your list than Horizon Forbidden West?
I don't think
I
so.
don't think you can straight face say yes.
I don't think. I
Will
don't
this
think
game be higher on your list? Will it be higher than Golf Plus?
There's a chance. There is a chance for sure.
Okay. Will it be higher than Vampire Survivors?
Yeah, I'd
I'm
say
going
yeah.
through my list right now.
Yeah, I'd
Stop
say there's a
it.
chance. I like Vampire Survivors, but remember that game, while it does one thing in particularly well, that is what that game does.
Yeah, and it's new.
There isn't much to that game.
Okay. Will it be
There
higher
are-
than Stray?
Yeah,
Maybe.
yeah, it'll be higher
Will
than
it be
Stray
higher
for me.
than Elden Ring?
Elden
I'm trying to look at
Ring
the
is
games on my list that you've played.
Elden Ring is a really
Oh, well,
tough
you don't like
one
Elden
for
Ring,
me.
so
It's not that I don't like it. It's there's a lot going on with Elden Ring.
okay. See, it doesn't deserve to be in the top 5. Is all I'm trying to say.
But 9th, maybe.
Top
for
10,
Barry.
sure. I mean, I could see that argument. I'm just saying, there's no way this game cracks top 5 at the end of the year. No way. Because of those ones that you said it wouldn't be higher, you still have God of War coming. You still
Could
have
suck.
Callisto Protocol.
Could suck.
And you have other games coming out. Barry, you're just trying to be
I'm playing devil's
contradicting
advocate.
to what I'm
yeah,
saying.
exactly. I exactly am.
There's no way God of War is going to suck. Absolutely zero.
It can't.
There's
See, you
no way.
You guys put all this hype behind it, but I'm gonna ask you a question.
What about-
You're
It's
gonna
not
have to-
hype. There's no hype. There's no hype. It's 100% conviction that this game will be executed perfectly.
Oh yeah.
Will you
Oh, yeah.
guys
They
be?
it's
Will you
just
guys be
fake.
so blinded by the whiff of a God of War that, despite the fact that that game may be broken and sucks, you guys will be like, "Wow, this is the greatest
It
game
won't.
ever made. I've been
won't.
brainwashed by Santa
That's
Monica
as
Studios
closest-
to believe
that's
this
as
is the
closest
greatest
to a
game that's
sure
ever
thing.
released."
As you can get.
Yeah.
I do believe.
Okay.
I do.
Yeah.
I do
All
right,
believe
this was
you
like
guys,
draft-
though. Like I do think God of War is
I'm-
going to
Okay.
be fantastic. I'm just playing devil's advocate.
I'm looking
Oh, I
at
love it.
the potential of Callisto Protocol. I mean, I could go with you on that. That could suck, right? That there's a
Yeah,
possibility.
not very likely.
I'm looking at-
though.
Right. I'm looking at-
Exactly.
For you, this isn't for me. This is for you, Barry. I'm looking at Pokemon Scarlet, right? And the other Pokemon won't suck for you. God of
Most
War
likely.
won't suck. Modern Warfare 2 more than likely will not suck.
No, yeah, I
Bayonetta
remember that.
3 will not suck.
No.
I can even, well, I can't say that one. I was going to say the new PGA Tour because they put Tiger Woods back on the cover.
Yo,
But,
don't even get me started on PGA Tour. It's back, baby. We got golf games back.
It's back, baby.
Splatoon 3 for you. Last of Us Part 1 for you. I don't know. I don't.
Well, Last of Us
That's
Last
all
of
I'm
Us
saying.
Part
There's a
1
lot
I'm
of
not
games.
counting because it is like that. It is technically a
You
reskin.
can. I'm counting the Uncharted one. 100%. Anyway,
Okay, I'll keep
I
that
got
in
way
mind.
off the rails there.
No, I love this.
That's because
last
you
10
want
minutes have
to.
been
It's just
fantastic.
because you want to hear me say Soul Hackers 2 is not a top 5 game, which
It's not.
potentially it could find its way into 5.
not. Nope.
Could.
I think that's a big thing to say, Barry. And
No.
I'm on the Soul Hackers 2 train with you. I am on the It's a Good Game train with you. If it cracks your top 5, I'm going to be
That just-
flabbergasted.
If it cracks
Yeah.
the top 5,
Especially after
it shows how
I-
how bad the other games were later.
But that's not. But there's
No.
already been at least 5 Game of the Year games that are.
Oh,
out.
yeah.
Like,
This year.
and
This year, there's already been games that have come out already that we've played that are better. Like, that should be in that top 5.
We'll see.
yes, Barry.
We'll see.
I love it.
Whatever.
I love it. Now the suspense is killing me, and I can't wait till our top. I can't wait till our top.
He's going to fight for it just out of spite, too.
I love it.
And I'm
You-
gonna
it won't-
pop
you won't
off
win.
if I can get it to
You
5.
won't win. You won't win.
You're
There's no
turning
way.
into a little gangster now, man.
Yeah,
You
you
will
won't
pop
win.
off.
Nope, not a chance.
You will see me
Anyway.
visibly get out of my chair
Anyway.
and scream, "Let's effing go!" if I can find it in the
You won't.
top
Let's go.
5.
You won't. There's no way. Guaranteed it won't be in the top 5.
2 people are playing it right now, and 3 people are even playing it.
Yeah,
if
and
you
I'm
make it
confident
far-
that Craig will not have it in his top 5.
you don't know. You never know. You never know.
We'll see.
You can put it in your
We'll
top 5 in
see.
your personal list. There's no way.
Wait till
You won't
guys
even have it in
find-
the top 5 of your personal list.
Wait till you guys
Get
find
outta
out
here.
God of War Ragnarok is just you playing as a turtle or something like that. And it's
my
just
God.
completely off the rails.
They made the boys so obnoxious that it's almost unplayable. That's the only thing I
There
could
we
think
go.
of.
Atreus becomes so obnoxious that you can't
Yep.
play the game anymore. All right, but let's get out of the games territory because we've talked enough about them. Let's go into movies and TV shows. For me, I'm going to put down. I've watched Dragon Ball Super Superheroes, the new anime movie that came out for the Dragon Ball
There's
series.
2 supers in it.
Yeah, it's kind of. I'm not the biggest fan of the
I
title
hate
either,
anime.
but you don't hate anime. You loved
Yes, I
Mugen
do.
Train.
That was a one-off. That title makes me question anime's existence.
Yeah. Okay.
Continue.
Yeah, no, I get it. But other than that, like pretty much, there was so much that came out on Netflix this week that unfortunately Sandman did take like a back seat to a lot of what I know. I'm sorry.
I even watched the extra
how-
episode.
How far are you in Sandman, Barry?
I'm episode 6.
Craig,
I'm
I
at
know
the
how
same
far
place
you
I
are.
was. I'm at the same
We could
episode I
s-
was last
we-
week, but
We can
Okay.
talk about. I got to 5 and 6. If you guys want to talk about that, is
Nope.
6 post?
no,
gotta
we
wait
gotta,
till
we
you're
gotta
done.
finish it. We
Just
gotta
wait till you're
finish
done.
it. Yeah,
It's
we gotta
fine.
finish
Because
I
it.
can put it
I'm
off.
right after the diner. I'm in
Yeah,
the
you gotta
episode
keep
after
going.
the diner.
You gotta keep going.
Oh, that diner episode though. Whew, that was a weird episode.
Fantastic. That's the
I
best
want to
one.
talk about it, but we can wait. We can wait. But I want to spend like 5 or 10 minutes on that episode alone.
Oh,
we can
yeah.
talk about it.
I think for the most part, like Game of Thrones, the new House of Dragons spinoff, I definitely can recommend. I can definitely recommend it. Had a lot of fun with it. Let me just see here.
They burned that bridge. I'm not going back.
You know, you and my other friend, like it's just like
Nope. I
enjoy the
refuse.
ride. Enjoy the
Nope.
ride. That's all I'm
Uh-uh.
for. It's just like let's
Nope.
enjoy the ride. Let's ride. Broncos country, let's ride. Sorry,
Oh
I
my
had to
God.
do
That's
that.
right.
Let's ride.
Barry's all fired up from the soul hackers.
Give credit where credit is due, even though we don't talk about shows until they're done. That I think She-Hulk is great.
Yes.
Yeah,
but we can-
I've been enjoying She-Hulk a lot. I
Yeah.
absolutely agree with that.
But I only have one thing that I watched, and it is Top Gun Maverick.
Okay.
How about you?
I still need
Craig?
to watch Top Gun Maverick. But yeah,
Besides, I've been trying to power through Watchmen. I didn't have a lot of time to watch stuff this week, but the only other thing that I watched was the. Is there only one episode out for She-Hulk, or did the second one come out?
2.
Okay,
We're on
so I
2.
only got to the first episode, but I did watch the first episode earlier this week. I didn't realize there
Okay.
was a second one.
There is a second one.
I'll talk about the anime movie Dragon Ball Super Superheroes.
Super.
It shouldn't take a while. This
I'm
is a
just mad
typical
about
Dragon
that.
Ball movie. I will say that it's all about kind of really good fight scenes, choreography. They kind of expect you to know like what's going on. They do give you a brief explanation of like what is going on and like the connection to the previous Dragon Balls in this. But I just found it to be a really good action movie. I think there's a lot of callbacks to like original Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z, which I grew up with, and I really appreciate those callbacks. I think the fight scenes are really good, and you get typical anime screaming. This movie did really well in the United States, did over 20 million, and that's good to see that these types of movies are succeeding in the United States, at least on my end, for somebody who wants to see anime grow even more in the United States. So good on Dragon Ball Superheroes. Gohan finally gets the spotlight, which I like. I like that.
Yeah.
I always liked Gohan better than Goku. That's just me.
Same.
Really.
I'm on that.
I
train
was-
as well.
Ever since the Cell saga, like
Yep.
ever since he lost his crap against like Cell after one of the androids died, I was like, Gohan's goated. And
He
then
is.
Gohan ends
Gohan's
up
goated.
becoming a nerd. Nerds. He's just a little shut in that doesn't.
Ew.
He doesn't even work out. Doesn't even probably do leg day.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Also, on a side note with that movie specifically, I don't know if you saw the video going around of the guy who got up in the movie theater and tried to get everybody to do the Kamehameha before the movie started.
Oh, don't even get me started with that stuff.
You guys-
Oh, did it
people are
fail
so.
epically?
It did. Here's the thing.
Yes.
I also can appreciate, and I do want anime to be able to exist in a movie theater and do
Yeah, but
well,
our
and I
fans
seem like,
suck.
but you guys need to calm down for real. It's embarrassing.
Yeah,
Um,
no, I can't. I
like
can't stand.
like I it's so cool to me that we're getting anime movies in US movie theaters. That is so cool and like widespread,
Yeah,
not like you have
just
to
that
drive
alone.
2 hours. That's so cool to me. But like you guys need to tone it down so that it continues to happen. Because I don't know, to me that's just like I know the majority of people who watch anime, right? Like yourselves included, um, can handle themselves responsibly. It's like the small percentage who are doing this, but it just gives
Mhm.
such a bad name to anime, which already has a bad name mainstream wise. People look down on you if you say I watch anime. You're gonna get the like, what are you 5? Look, you know what I mean? Like people don't understand that like anime is not just cartoons that children watch anymore. There are stories out there that are great. But yeah, that kind of stuff is so
Could you give us an example?
obnoxious.
No, I'm just gonna.
Can you give us
Uh,
an
Demon Slayer,
There we go. There. That's all I was looking for. I was
Okay.
just trying to do that.
Dragon
Yeah,
Ball
and
Z.
yeah, like I want to say that there are similar parallels to kind of like the anime community, and I want to say the Marvel community as well. Like anime people, we don't get out a lot, so when we're people get weird in like public in public circumstances, where like yeah, we end
Yep.
up with I will admit super cringy moments like that kind of stuff. But also, it's kind of
Mhm.
like the small percentage of Marvel fans that feel the need to scream at the top of their
Yep.
lungs and go, "Oh my god!" whenever something happens, because everybody's like, "Oh
Mhm.
my god, this is there's that cameo." Everybody screams on the top of their lungs, and it's like, dude, just like you can gasp a little bit and be surprised, but there's no need to overdo it
Yeah, don't
because
go
that's
extra.
Right.
yeah,
Right.
Yeah, don't be extra.
Yep. You can do that in your own home. I don't care. But like
yeah,
when
Oh,
you're
that's
out
true.
in public, like just have a little bit more respect for everybody else who also paid money to be there to watch this movie.
yeah. Like the only exception I ever had, or like the only exception I had to that was what was it? Endgame. Avengers
Yep.
Endgame was the
Yep.
exception. I was completely okay with everybody screaming and
Hmm.
crying
Yeah, that was
during
fun.
that.
It added to that moment.
Yeah,
Yeah, which was a
especially opening
culmination
night.
of so many
Yeah,
movies by that
yeah,
point.
Yeah, and years of like waiting for that
Years and
payoff, and
years.
you finally got that payoff was great.
yeah, yeah. It's
But
just
yeah,
like with the
not
with
just
the
like
most
let me stand
recent
up.
Doctor Strange. Like I felt like
Yeah.
I felt like, and it was just I think probably my movie experience where it was just like, all right,
Hmm.
like y'all can just kind of settle down a little bit,
Yeah,
and
calm down. Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, you can. I literally watched that movie in theaters, and with those cameos, and went, "Oh, sweet," and that was it.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you don't have to yell. All right, Top Gun, Maverick. I have to
Tell me, yeah,
clarify.
yeah.
Okay, so I went into this movie. I have a very how do I deep appreciation, deep love for the original Top Gun. I love Top Gun. I think it's a great movie. Um, so I went into this kind of like when you look at the reviews, right? I think this is at like a 96 on Rotten Tomatoes and like a 98 audience score. I literally started and I was like, there is no way this movie is that good. I refuse to believe that a Top Gun sequel is that good. This movie's that good. It really is.
Really?
Yeah, it's really that good. here's here's how I can tell, right? Because I love Top Gun. It's like cheesy. What was that? 90s, early 90s, I
Yeah.
think, is when that came out.
Yeah, early,
Cheesy
yeah.
90s.
Yeah, what is it?
Best buds. We're gonna play sand volleyball with our shirts off together. That's
Yes.
what Top Gun was, right? So I go into this movie and like with the side note that my wife hates Top Gun, the original, hates it. She doesn't like Tom Cruise. She was forced to watch Top Gun too many times growing up, so she hates it. But she sat there and watched it, and when I turned to her at the end and I was like, "Was it great?" and she was like, "Yeah, it was actually pretty good." So like that says a lot. The
Yeah.
story is phenomenal. The fact that again, like you may not like Tom Cruise, but everything he does, he goes above and beyond with the stunts, right? So everything filmed as far as flying the fighter jets, they're sticking cameras on top of those fighter jets and they're doing that stuff. You know what I mean? Like all that stuff. They're like, you can tell Tom Cruise is like, nah, we're doing it. We're literally doing this. We're not going to CGI it. We're going to fly these planes and we're going to do it. You get like with the original Top Gun, going back and watching it, 75% of it is like them training. And then the last 25 is when they do their mission. Right.
Yeah,
It's the same thing here, but like, the same thing. 75% of this movie is him training the new people. And then you get to the end, which is that huge payoff. But that whole 75% was so entertaining. And I was so involved in that story that I was like, this is great. So yeah, 100% it deserves that high of a rating. I wish I would have saw this in an IMAX though, because that would have been mind blowing. But at home on my TV with a nice sound system, right, with a nice bass, man, that thing just rumbles when they're in the jets. So Barry, I know you appreciate that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah, I'm excited.
Put that thing on blast. Put it on blast and watch that movie and just sit there and absorb the like shockwaves of bass that are going to be like blowing past your face. Amazing. This is the movie that they would put like in the showrooms of retail stores to advertise sound, right? When you like sit down in the chair and there's a million. This is the movie. Super cheesy, super fun, 100% recommend. I'm probably going to buy this on 4K and just sit there and blast my face off like every couple months because it's so much. I don't know. I just enjoyed it so much. So yeah.
This is why
I know you can rent it now.
What? Yeah, I was just going to say, this is why I need to like get my own house so that I can like absolutely just like my sound system. Anyway. Well, like I know I should, but I'm too nice of a neighbor. If I'm being honest, I try.
No, just do it one time. It's like 2 hours.
Just do it at 12 p.m.
Yeah, in the middle of the day,
a random day. Do it during a work week, like
yeah.
And you know what? Actually, I could actually probably play it off because there's an airport that's right by me. You guys know the airport that's right by me. I could actually probably play it off with the airport right next to me.
Yeah. You could even you could play the movie and then you could walk outside and then with like a cup of coffee just for emphasis and just say there's a lot of planes taking off today, isn't there?
I'm gonna time it out. I'm gonna try to watch the movie as the most takeoffs are going on.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just do it like get up super early one morning and just start playing it just to wake everybody up.
Oh my god! I'm pretty sure I could at least wake up probably more than half of like my little townhome community here, like with my sound system.
Yeah, but 100%. Make sure you watch it. That way, I can get your impression and see if you loved it as much as I did. But I had a blast.
I think I will. All right. So, you said, Craig, what did you end up watching anything, or was it just pretty much just trying to Watchmen? I think you said.
It was just
Sandman, right?
No, I got to through like episode 6 or 7 of Sandman. Whatever episode is after the diner, but we can wait to talk about that because
we need to.
I'm trying to get through it. I didn't get to watch a lot this week.
Mm-hmm.
And then I mean, technically, I can offer 50% of an opinion because I watched the first episode of Hulk, but we're also probably going to wait for that to finish to talk about it. I'll just say Siskel and Ebert for right now because. Yep. I guess one of them rest in peace, but Siskel and Ebert for right now for that show. That's all I'll say. And then we'll just talk about it later.
Sure.
Cool. All right. Well, that's going to be the end of the podcast then. I really thank everybody for stopping by, listening, watching, however you consume our podcast. Thank you. If you're interested, we do have an Instagram, a Twitter, a Facebook, and a Twitch. I do plan on streaming this week. Sorry, last Thursday was my birthday. I decided to let myself have a day.
What?
So
how dare you?
I know. I do plan on streaming Bayonetta 2.
How dare you?
On Thursday. I know. Thinking about myself before the stream. How dare I?
For real.
But if I can get torn away from Soul Hackers 2 long enough to play Bayonetta 2, I'm gonna stream, guys. Don't worry about it. So
yeah, it's gonna be hard. It's your game of the year.
Yeah, it is. But Again, if you guys are interested, please make sure to email us at highsensitivitypodcast@gmail.com if you have any questions or hypotheticals you want us to go over, and review us if you've been listening on your favorite podcasting platform. Those reviews help us get sent out to more people, or get recommended to more people, and I appreciate anybody that fills that stuff out. So other than that, that's been it for the podcast, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye.
See you later.
Later, y'all.